Our old pal Bob Dane is on the line with us from FAIR. These are the folks who fight against this illegal immigration on a daily basis. Bob, how are you?
Hi, Phil. How are you? Boy, a lot going on. I can almost give it to you here in real time from Capitol Hill.
No kidding. And this DREAM Act that they're trying to insert in this defense bill that Harry Reid's trying to do. Let me delve into the DREAM Act for a moment. For those who don't understand this, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the DREAM Act is all about giving amnesty to kids or people now who were kids that came to this country when they were under the age of 16. And I have a certain amount of sympathy. You know how I am about this illegal immigration issue. You know, I've been on the front line of this thing for a long time, as you well know, but there's something in my heart that says, you know, when you came over here when you were 2 years old because your parents dragged you over here, I got a little bit more sympathy for those folks than I do adults who came over. Do you not?
There is an issue there. It probably should be addressed. The DREAM Act obviously is not the way to do it because while it's being marketed as an educational initiative for the boys and girls, as Harry Reid and Dick Durbin keep repeating, note with great fascination, Phil, you can be up to the age of 35 and take advantage of this.
Right.
So, you know, you're already way out ahead of me on this.
But it doesn't need to.
Aliens,
but it doesn't need to be tied to a defense bill. I guess is what you're saying.
Well, there is no defense bill. The Senate voted today to start debate on the Department of Defense authorization bill. Reid only needed a single Republican convert to vote. He had a unified Democratic caucus of 59 to break those filibusters. This, for the last 30 minutes, has been very good theater. This is as good as it gets, and very high stakes because of the controversial nature of the amendments that were going to be introduced under the defense bill, and of course the looming backdrop of the midterm elections. That motion to proceed to debate the defense authorization bill failed moments ago. 57-43. One senator missing, Murkowski of Alaska, was not around to vote.
Yeah, she's too busy. So she's putting together write-in ballots, I believe, is what she's doing.
Yeah. So, you know, it was a big enough margin to... yeah. But, you know, what's interesting is Senators Snowe and Collins from Maine this time didn't jump ship and vote with the Dems. And then conversely, Democratic Senators Mark Pryor and Blanche Lincoln of Arkansas also voted no.
Wow.
So, you know, what you've got here, I mean, there's good and there's bad. Thanks to these controversial add-on amendments of Harry Reid and Dick Durbin and others, you know, unfortunately, the Department of Defense bill was just too hot for the senators to handle. There's no debate on it. So now the next step is, you know, Reid can make it a little more palatable to the Republicans. He can strip away all these controversial amendments, and it's within his power. I mean, hours from now, he could reintroduce it, and they could start fresh. He could do it in a lame duck session after the elections, or he could just. In all likelihood, the Senate may not even debate the defense authorization bill and simply fund it with a continuing resolution at this year's level next year.
So it's getting very complicated, but it looks like that Harry Reid is, what you're telling me is he's losing this battle.
Oh, he botched the job. A total, just an obscene political miscalculation in a whole, 900 different ways. I mean, Reid and Durbin either didn't notice or, well, more likely, they don't care. Americans intuitively, they don't like amendments tagged onto authorization bills. They don't have anything to do with the bill in particular. And, you know, the defense bill in particular, using that as a political football, most Americans just think there's something unseemly about that, although, of course, both parties do it.
Yeah, and they've been doing it for a long time, but it is unseemly, and especially, you know, this has absolutely nothing to do with defense.
It has everything to, I think it has everything to do with getting Harry Reid elected. It was a very transparent, last-ditch political tactic by Harry Reid. I think not only the Republicans recognized it, certainly the public did, but even his own Democrats. He's sort of going to win both ways on this. If he had gotten his illegal alien amnesty DREAM Act put on the amendment to the defense bill, Phil, he would have been able to go back to his much-needed Hispanic voting base in Nevada and had bragging rights. Hey, I've introduced a much-needed amnesty bill.
Yeah, but then the rest of the folks in Nevada wouldn't have gone for that, wouldn't they?
No, but on the other hand, now Reid can portray the Republicans as being obstructionist and anti-Hispanic.
Right.
Look, even Senator Lindsey Graham, who has been a longtime supporter for amnesty.
Lindsey Grahamnesty.
For illegal. Yeah, I mean, even Graham said Reid's tactics were an all-time low and very offensive, and they certainly were.
So is this thing dead or what?
It's dead as a doornail as we speak. And again, if Harry Reid, there were a variety of amendments being put onto this defense bill. The don't ask, don't tell. I mean, that's not our ballywick. There was a massive illegal amnesty bill put on it. That certainly is. And a couple of others that were not particularly germane to the defense bill. He's going to have to go back and purify the defense bill. This is a bill that should be used purely to provide the money and the manpower and the resources for the men and women of our armed services, not as a social engineering experiment.
Well, I'm understanding from what I'm hearing that they're going to try to get Congress is going to try to get out of town by the end of this week. So that makes it very unlikely that any kind of amnesty is going to come down before the lame duck session. So let's talk about the lame duck session for a moment. Let's just suppose in what we're seeing, we see the storm, the Tea Party storm across the country. We're assuming that Congress, at least the House, is going to go Republican. Do you think then there's any chance that these folks in a lame duck session are going to try to bring amnesty back?
I don't think so, because as they see the game changing in November, and I think it certainly will in the House, there's not going to be much need to get something going at this point when they know that they're not going to have the votes later on.
Yeah, there'll be enough Democrats who didn't lose in November who want to stay around and are looking forward to the next election who aren't going to go along with this madness of some of this desperation from these folks who are going to be gone, I would think. Would you agree with that?
No, I think the Hail Mary, the clock is ticking now. They went for the Hail Mary before the game changes in November. I don't think we're going to see any radical social engineering and massive illegal alien amnesty bills done in lame duck.
So for right now, we've won.
Oh, it's a huge win. It's a huge win today. Now, look, the Department of Defense authorization bill is very complex, and there's a lot of manpower, resources, and programmatic issues that, I think our armed forces would be better off if today we began to discuss those issues as opposed to later on. But in terms of illegal alien massive amnesty in the last-ditch pitch by Harry Reid, this was a major year-end victory for folks who believe in enforcement first and amnesty second. Well,
it's great. Of course, as you know, we have to fight this thing on almost a daily basis because these people are always coming back with something. So hopefully we'll see what happens with the if, in fact, it does happen, as it looks like it's going to the Republicans take over the House after the November elections. We'll have to see what they're cooking up. I can't imagine they would come back. And look, we got people like John McCain, who I'm assuming John McCain didn't vote for any of this madness because he's had this epiphany down there in Arizona about building the darn fence and the rest of that stuff. So for right now, he's on our side, is he not?
Yeah, very much so. And look, as we started when we first talked, there's a certain population of kids who've been brought into the United States illegally through no fault of their own, and they're good kids, and we probably need some sort of reasonable bipartisan approach to dealing with that. But this DREAM Act, I mean, if they had come to the table and they had chopped the age of 35 maybe down to 21, 22,
right.
If they had prohibited these kids from petitioning all of their relatives to come in, and if there'd actually been a cutoff point, hey, I would be the first guy to be happy sitting at the table to hash that one out. But this was a broad, sweeping, last-ditch pitch for amnesty, which they had failed to deliver since Obama took office. Well,
we can sit back and relax, at least for the time being. Bob, appreciate it very much. Bob Dane with the Federation for American Immigration Reform. FairUS.org is their website if you want to check them out. Bob, always a pleasure. Appreciate it.